to another episode of the Leveraging Gifts Podcast. I'm your host, Anquilla Bello. Join us weekly as we explore the 6 pillars of success: faith, time, health, connections, money, and your genius. I believe that each of these pillars are gifts that we can leverage to aid us in creating a life filled with greater impact, influence, and income. So come along on the journey as we leverage our gifts. Hey friend, welcome back to another episode of the Leveraging Gifts Podcast. I'm your host, Anquilla Bello, and I cannot believe that we are coming to the end of 2022. The end of a year. It was just New Year's. Am I the only one who thinks it was just New Year's? And we're coming around to New Year's Eve again, like tomorrow is 2023. Yeah, I wasn't ready. Were you ready? I wasn't ready. I thought I still had more time in this year. But as I have reflected on this past year, on 2022, and thought about some of the lessons that I've learned, some of the experiences, the milestones, the things that I've done that I never thought that I would do, that's what I wanted to dedicate this episode to. Just a reflection of the things that I've learned over the year and how I think those things possibly could benefit you and how they benefited me. Let's get into it. One of the first things that I want to say that I learned in 2022 is that I'm more talented than I thought, than I was giving myself credit for. And I'm pretty sure you are too. A lot of times we have these skills, we have these gifts, we have these abilities, we have these things that we're really great at. But because we're really great at them, we don't understand how great we really are. We think it's nothing. Oh, it's not that big a deal. Oh, it's okay. I'm a little good at this. And when people tend to tell us, especially if you're someone that doesn't like to receive, which I was that person, when people tend to tell us like, oh my God, you're a great hairstylist, or man, you are an amazing cook, or you're a really good teacher, or whatever the thing may be, you kind of a lot of times brush it off, or you come up with all the reasons why it wasn't perfect or why something was wrong with it, right? I did an episode earlier this year with my mom because it was her birthday. And we ran into some technical difficulties and some other things because my mom knows nothing about podcasting. And I wasn't physically in the same space with her to put it together. And she was doing it on her lunch break. So we didn't have a whole lot of time for me to walk her through certain things. So we made it work with what we had. She heard the episode before I did any polishing, anything with the sound. I let her listen to it. And then I did all my back end stuff. I did my editing. I did some sound engineering, whatever. And when episode went live and she listened to it, she called me to tell me how good it was. And not how good it was from the standpoint of me talking to her and more like interview and conversation style, but just like how good I made her sound, how good I sounded, how I kept the conversation flowing. And she was just like, Anquilla, you're really good at this. I don't know if you realize how good you are, but you're really good at this. That made me pause because there are other people who listen to the show who have DM'd me, who have sent me emails and said amazing things, or people who have seen me in real life or even in communities that I'm in, and they've told me how they've enjoyed the show, how they've enjoyed the flow of it and how I put it together and the way I talk about things. And while I did receive those and I accepted them, I still thought I was just kind of okay. Like I wasn't that great. I was kind of, I'm okay. But when my mom said that, the person who's known me my entire life, because, I started in her womb, it made me pause. And I was like, I wasn't just a host, but I did everything. I research and write the content myself. I edit the content. I'm mastering the sound. So I'm the sound engineer. I'm doing all of the pieces to make the show a show. So I went back and I started looking through things that other people told me. I started going back through emails and DMs and thinking about conversations. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to actually listen to some episodes. Get over the fact that you don't like the way your voice sounds, because most of us don't like the way we sound. We sound different to ourselves than we sound to other people. I know everybody likes to say I have a smoothing voice, but to me, I sound like a chipmunk or a monkey. yeah, it is what it is. But I went back and I listened to episodes and just listened from the standpoint of a listener. I'm not trying to critique it. I'm not trying to say, oh my gosh, why do you sound like this? Or why didn't you use correct English here? Or why are you so comfortable that you're using all this slang? Just listening. Listening to the production quality, listening to how the audio sound. And I was like, I am really good at this. And I downplayed myself because I didn't market the way I could have. I didn't market in a manner where I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I was amazing at what I was doing and left the rest to God. I did it and I did market it, but it was so much more that I could have done if I had the belief that I was really great. So it taught me that I'm way more talented than I ever thought I was. I am way more gifted than I have even given myself credit for. So look back over 2022 for yourself. Look at the things that you've done. Look at the accomplishments that you have made and pause. Like really sit in those things and see how good you are. Really sit in those things and see the lives that you've changed or the doors that you've opened. The opportunities that have come your way. Really take a look at what you have accomplished, big and small, in 2022. And I guarantee you, you will see that you are better, you are more brilliant, and you are more talented than you have given yourself for this entire year. And when you see that, I want you to take that feeling into 2023 so that it changes how you operate. It changes how you do things. It changes how you show up because you now know how good you are. You now understand within yourself that people were right this whole time, that you were limiting yourself this entire time, and you begin to move forward on it. And you begin to do things in a way that you've never done them before. Something else that I learned in 2022, being a creator, is that I'm reaching someone, even if it's just one person, and to not get caught up in the results, that I'm not worried about the outcome. I'm worried about producing it and putting it out there for people to see it, to hear it, to engage with it. And I'm leaving the results up to God. I had to realize that I'm impacting someone's life, even if it's just one person, and to let go of the results and give them to God. Whether you're an author, whether you're a teacher, a principal, a banker, it doesn't matter. You are affecting one person's life. You've left a mark. There is always someone watching. There is always someone listening. You always have the ability to change someone else's reality. You always have the ability to be the person that shows someone else what's possible. Even if it's just one person, you're impacting somebody. Think about that before you throw in the towel. Think about that before you give up or want to quit. What's going to happen to that one person? What's going to happen to the one person that's listening to you? What's going to happen to the one person that's looking up to you? What's going to happen to the one email subscriber? What's going to happen to the one YouTube subscriber? What's going to happen to the one person that's in your membership? What's going to happen to the one student that comes to class ready to learn? What's going to happen to them if you throw in the towel and you give up? Don't think about the metrics. Don't think about the numbers. Don't think about the analytics. Think about it in terms of people and think about that one person. Don't worry about all the rowdy students. I know it's easier said than done for your teachers, but don't think about the students who aren't showing up. Don't think about the ones who don't want to do the work. Think about that one student who's engaged, who's learning, who's asking questions, who's showing up prepared. You're affecting that life. The other thing that I learned is that it is okay to pivot and change. There is freedom in the kingdom, and we're not limited to one thing. If you started a career and you're like, OMG, I don't like this. Girl, it is okay to look for another job. It's okay. If you just did an internship in your field and you're like, it's too late to change my major, I'm like 3 credits almost out, and you realize you don't like it, go to grad school for something else. Don't go for that. Go for something else. It's okay to change. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to say, I thought I liked that, but that's not working. Yeah, we're going to do something different. That's okay. You have that right. There are no limits on you. If you have limits on yourself, take them off. Take the limits off your mind right now that makes you think that you can't change your mind, that makes you think you can't change your career, that makes you think you can't move to another city, that makes you think that you can't change your offer, that makes you think you can't change the title of your podcast, or you can't change your YouTube channel, or you can't change how you're marketing. You have that ability. You have the ability to pivot, and you have the ability to change. You have the ability to decide you want to be vegan today, and you know what? I tried it. I don't like it. I think I'm just going to be vegetarian. And you're like, nope, I like seafood. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to throw seafood back in there, and that's what we're going to do. And that's okay. People might get mad about it, but guess what? They can get mad about it. It's not their lives. It's yours. You have the ability to change your mind. You have the ability to decide that something isn't working for you and you need to do something different. It's okay to go in a different direction. Your path doesn't have to look like anyone else's, and you can always change paths when they don't work for where you're trying to go. The next thing that I learned is it is time to stop playing small and start maximizing the rooms that you are already in. Learn this from a friend. She called me and she said, girl, I was praying and asking God to open doors and put me in new rooms. And God said, ma'am, he gave you that quick clap back. Ma'am, you're not maximizing the rooms that you're already in. So why are you asking me to put you in more rooms? No. You need to maximize where you are. You need to stop playing small. And I was like, oh, that's a whole word, girl, that cut. And I thought about myself. And I thought about the rooms that I'm in, the communities that I'm in, the people that I know. And I'm like, bro, I'm not maximizing the rooms that I'm in. I'm not leveraging my gifts. Because y'all know gifts are everything. Gifts are everything that God has given us in this earth that we can use. Like, I'm not leveraging them. I'm not leveraging the fact that I'm in this community, or I know that person, or I'm connected to this individual. I was like, ooh, girl, what you doing? And I guarantee you, if I'm not doing it, you probably aren't either. You're probably searching for something or reaching for something or looking for something or even asking God to open doors for you without maximizing the doors he's already opened, without maximizing the opportunities that are already before you, because you're looking for the next bigger thing. Right? You're looking for that big opportunity, that major opportunity, that thing that you feel like is going to put you on the map. You're looking at this person over here that's at level 10 and you're at level 2. And instead of maximizing all the doors and the opportunities in the rooms that you have available to you at level 2, you're trying to get to the doors, the opportunities in the rooms that are at level 10. But let me tell you something. If you maximize these things that are right before you right now, while you're at level 2, you're going to jump levels. You're not going to slowly crawl. You're going to jump levels because you're maximizing what's there. And it's going to eventually put you in front of another person. And it's going to put you in another room. And it's going to give you another opportunity. So in 2023, don't play small. When we go into 2023, I need you to maximize every opportunity that's before you. I need you to take a look at the things that's in front of you. Take a look at the opportunities that you have. Take a look at the resources that you have, the people that you're connected to, and figure out how you can maximize them. How can these rooms, how can these resources and these people help me go to where I'm trying to go? What can I do differently with what I already have in front of me? And it doesn't have to be perfect. You just got to maximize it. Another thing I learned in 2022 is to do it your way. Do what works for you and where you are in life. A lot of times we try to do things other people's way, and their way doesn't work for us. It may work for them, but it's not working for you. So why are you trying to do it their way? I'll give you an example. I think I talked about this on the episode with my mom, but then also a friend of mine in the community kind of talked about this as well. She talked about the story of David and Goliath and how when David went to go fight Goliath, Saul put his armor on David. But David couldn't move in Saul's armor. He was like, this not working for me. And he took it off. And when David went before Goliath, he went before Goliath and what worked for him with his sack, his 5 smooth stones, and his slingshot, because that's what worked for him. And he took down the giant with what worked for him. A lot of times in life, we try to do what works for other people versus doing what works for us. Why? Do what works for you. Don't put on someone else's armor. Don't pick up this marketing channel and that marketing channel. Don't try to get this part-time job, and don't try to go to school and major in this thing or get a degree in that thing because it's what someone else is doing. That may not work for you. Don't try to be this style of dancer when that style may not work for you. If you're an alto, why are you trying to sing soprano? You can't even go up that high. That doesn't work for your voice. It doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for your style. It doesn't work for where you are in life. So do what works for you, not what works for the next person. Because we're all different. We all have different goals. We all have different resources and different access, and we have different support. So while you're looking at someone else and you're seeing why they're doing things a certain way, you don't know what they have on the back end that's helping them do that. You don't know what type of training they have. You don't know what type of skill set they've already had. You don't know what resources that are disposable to them. So instead of trying to mimic and be someone else, be true to you. David didn't take down Goliath by trying to be Saul and wearing his armor. David took down Goliath by being himself, by doing what worked for him, by doing what got him where he was in the past. And I had to check myself on that because there were situations and things where I wanted to do what other people were doing, what everyone else had going on. And in trying to do things that other people were doing, I ended up doing nothing. I ended up making no moves and no changes because every time I tried to do those things, while they were possible, there were so many other steps involved that I didn't either have the time for, I didn't have the resources for, or it was just too much. It was too much. And in trying to do all of those things, I was limiting what already was working for me, where I was seeing progress and elevation and acceleration because I was trying to do what worked for that person or this person or that other person over here. So don't do that. We all have different responsibilities. We all have different goals, and what works for the next person may not work for you, and that is okay. Do what works for you. Do you. Don't try to conform to this world. Don't try to conform to someone else's standards. Don't try to conform to someone else's blueprint. Create your own blueprint. This is not a master planned community. That's not what your life needs to look like. It doesn't need to look like a master plan community, which is a community where just about all the houses are the same and you have a few blueprints that are different, but you have probably 5 models and all the houses are between those 5 models. That's not what we're trying to do. We are all trying to be in one of those old, nice, historic communities where every house looks different. This house has brick. This one doesn't. This is 3-story. This one has a basement. Everything looks different because everyone was true to themselves and what they wanted for their own house. Everyone got their own blueprints from the builder, and we weren't trying to just pick a model. You were like, nah, I don't want to just pick something because that worked for that other person because this part right here don't work for my family and that part doesn't work for me and this part doesn't work for where I want to go. So build your own blueprint. Sketch your own plans for your life and for where you want to go. And the last thing that I learned in 2022 that I'm taking into 2023 is to always be in community and to collaborate with others. When you are collaborating with others, you can go a lot further faster. And when you're in community, they typically hold your foot to the fire and keep you accountable. You're not going at it alone or by yourself, but you're going at it with other people. And we were made to live in community. We were designed to work with others. We were created to not be alone. That's not how we were designed. I mean, we can just look at the story of Adam and Eve. What did God say? It is not good for man to be alone. And then he made woman. I mean, it was one other person, but it was still another person. You weren't by yourself. You had somebody to hold you accountable. We're not going to go into the fall. We're just saying there's still somebody else there to hold you accountable. He was like, Adam, you can't be by yourself. That ain't good. Let me create somebody else to be with you. The same applies to us in life. When we're trying to do things by ourselves without community, we can fall into old patterns, old behaviors, old habits negative thoughts can permeate our mind and our being, and it can stop us from moving forward. But when you have those people that are holding you accountable, that you have to answer to, and it's like, hey, why haven't I seen you? Where have you been? What's going on? Why haven't you posted a podcast episode? Why haven't you been to class? Girl, you ain't been to work in like a week. You okay? Are you sick? When people are there asking those questions, you're like, dang, if I don't do this, if I don't show up, somebody is going to notice. And when somebody notices, they're going to ask questions. And when they're asking questions, you're like, oh, snap. I can't just hide in a corner and ignore what's going on or what isn't happening, because somebody's holding you accountable. One of the things for me that I learned is that without community, I can hide. And I can shrink, and I can allow life's issues and woes to get me down, or even I can allow these negative thoughts that make me feel like I'm not capable, I'm not able to do the things that I want to do, to stop me from doing them, because all I'm doing is rehearsing this stuff over and over in my mind. But when I'm in community and I've set out my goals and my plans and I've given them to other people and said, this is what I want to do, and I don't do it, they're holding my foot to the fire and saying, hey, what happened? Why didn't you do X, Y, Z? You said you were going to do this, but I didn't see it. It didn't happen. What's going on? If I'm not showing up, they're trying to figure out, why am I not there? Hey, they're pinging me or sending me a message. What's going on? I didn't see you today at X, Y, Z. I didn't see you yesterday. And so I learned that community keeps me accountable. And community allows me to have other people that understand where I'm going, that understand my goals and dreams, that I can talk to, that may be going through the same things, because your family may not understand. They may not be on the same journey that you're on. They may not be in graduate school. So I don't get why you don't have time to do X, Y, Z. They may not understand the rigor that you're going through. They may not be a teacher, so they don't understand how these students really are getting on your last nerves in the administration. Plus, on top of that, you have to bring all this work home and get it done and go back the next day, because they're not teachers. They really don't get it. So we need that community of individuals that help guide us, that help navigate us, that help hold us accountable. And when we have that community, it allows us to keep going and to keep moving and to keep trucking up the mountain. And then you have collaboration, which is the other thing that I learned, is when I collaborate with others, again, I go further faster, because I'm using their knowledge plus my knowledge, their skills, my expertise, and we're bringing them together. Maybe where I fall short, that's their major skill. And where they fall short, it may be my major skill. So we're helping one another in the areas where we see weakness in the other person. We can pool our resources together and create one thing. You don't have to do it by yourself, and I don't have to do it by myself, because when you can work with somebody else, it's a lot easier. I mean, think about it. College, high school, all of it, even middle school. When you have a group project, when one person is doing all the work, and especially if you were that one person that did all the work in a group project, it is annoying as heck. You'll be mad and pissed off with everybody. You don't want anybody else to get credit because they didn't show up and they didn't do any other work. You did all the work by yourself. It's a lot. But when you have a group project and everybody in the group shows up, or at least 75% of the people in the group show up, that's gravy, because we can delegate, we can assign tasks. Okay, you do this part, you do this part, you do that part. And we knock it out of the park because everybody did a part, and not one person was overwhelmed because one person didn't have to do it all. And then in that group project, if you feel like you're coming up against something and you're unsure, you got somebody to call. Hey, Sarah, so I was doing the research on this part, but I just feel like I'm kind of like hitting a brick wall. I was wondering if maybe you could take a look at it. If you see something that I don't see. And Sarah takes a look at it and it's like, oh, I see what happened. It's right here. If you change this to this, bomb. Now you're back on track. That collaboration, it can make things so much easier because it's not all on the backs of one person. And people do it all the time. They do it all the time. In the business world, this is where two companies come together and form a joint venture partnership. You still have your business, you still have yours, but let's do this joint venture partnership where we work together for this common goal. Well, we work together to do this thing. So we're going to take your resources. We're going to take my resources. We're going to take your team. We're going to take my team, and we're going to bring them together, and we're going to do this thing. Versus competing, we're going to collaborate. Because if we're competing, then you're only going to get part of the market share. I'm going to get part of the market share, and it may be part of the market that nobody gets. But if we come together and we collaborate, then we're not competing. We can get all of the market, and we can just split the profits. And no one person had to deal with all the work. No one person had to worry about all the operation costs because we brought them together. So collaborate in 2023. If I can't leave y'all with anything else, all the things are important, but make sure you're collaborating with others and make sure you're in community so that you have people to hold you accountable and so that you can share the burden with someone else and not just yourself. You can work smarter and not harder. So quick recap. What did we learn in 2022 that we are going to implement in 2023 or use to accelerate how fast we move in 2023? Is go back and take a look over the year and see how talented you really are. I'm telling you, youthebomb.com. You just don't know it yet. Always remember one person. You're reaching one person. Keep that at the top of your mind, that you are reaching one person, that one life is changing because of what you do every single day. It's okay to pivot and change. It is okay. It is okay to do things differently. It is okay to decide that this isn't working. It is okay to decide that you want to do something else. It is okay to change careers. It is okay to change majors. Pivot and change are A-okay. That's what life is all about. Change is the only constant in life. So remember that. Time to stop playing small and maximize every room and every opportunity that is before you. Maximize it. Every room, every opportunity. Do it your way. Create your own blueprint, your own master plan. You can take pieces from other people if you decide, but create your own plan. Don't pull somebody else's blueprint and follow it to the T. You are your architect and you need to design your own plan for your own life, your own business, your own goals. And community and collaboration. Be in community, find others to collaborate with so that you can be held accountable and so that you can go further a lot faster. And the last thought that I want to leave you with is find you a word for the year. Like really sit down with God and get you some quiet time. After you've done all these things, after you've looked back over 2022, seeing what worked, what didn't work, what you want to take into 2023, what you're going to leave behind, and ask God, what is your word for the new year? When he gives you that word, keep that at the forefront of your mind that this is the thing that you're doing all of 2023. Whatever that word may be for you, that's what you're doing. That's how you're going to approach every project. That's how you're going to approach life. That's how you're going to approach all of your goals, is going to be according to that word, according to what he tells you. Because I'm telling you, that word is going to be a focus word. It's going to be a word that aligns your entire year. And it's going to be a word that allows you to see what's working, what's not working, what to leave behind, and what to focus on. Because say, for instance, if your word was accelerate, then you would know that everything you're doing for the year, you need to accelerate your movement because that is your word. So don't move slow. Don't move at a snail's pace. Do things that accelerate what you're looking to see because that's your word. And know that that's the word that God is going to activate in your life, that things are going to happen in your life at an accelerated pace. So prepare for that. Prepare for the acceleration. So that's why I say take the time to figure out what your word is, because your word is going to show you what you need to focus on and how you need to move. And it's also going to help you prepare for how God is going to move in your life throughout the entire year. That's all, friend. And until next time, I want you to fortify your mindset, flourish in confidence, fuel your faith, and leverage your gifts.